I had this whole procrastination video ready, and then I realized I'm a little bored with that. I'd rather go ahead and play indoors with the kids. So, enjoy! Maybe you're watching this because you don't want to do something serious, like maybe file for taxes right now, or you don't want to put those kids to bed just yet, so you just let them cry in the background. Oh, that sounds a lot like me. Anyhow, today we're going to talk about procrastination, how we can either make it work for us or avoid it altogether. Anyway, let's get into it. I can't wait to get into this one. It's going to be great. But before I do, I think I'm going to go get a sandwich, maybe make a phone call. Oh, then there's that video game I got to play. I'm going to be back in just a little bit. I put the pro back into procrastinate, y'all.
You're an expert at it?
I am an expert, and I'm going to teach you a few things about some things I learned today on Wikipedia. You've probably tried a few tricks or read a few books or looked up some blogs about procrastination and realized that, man, you just can't get over this habit of yours. And I get it, but sometimes it's not such a bad idea to have a little bit of procrastination in your life. Let's think about it for a second. If you're maybe a doctor who needs to go ahead and go into surgery, bad time to procrastinate. However, most of us are not in those emergency situations, in which case, if you're a creative type, like I can be sometimes, I have learned that procrastination can be a good thing. Did you know that? Let's think of somebody we all know. Steve Jobs, gotta love him for Apple, or if you're not an Apple fan, you probably hate him. But nonetheless, you can't deny that he was very creative and very successful. One thing you got to remember is when you are involved in a project that's going to involve a lot of your creativity, you're going to need some time to let the best ideas kind of unveil themselves. So getting into some project and being very rushed about it and having your whole team collaborate and feeling rushed through the process is not going to work in a creative sense. So there is some serious benefit to being a procrastinator. And Steve Jobs was one of the biggest ones as it happens. And he's not alone. You're in good company if you're feeling like you're the only guy in town that's procrastinating. I think the numbers are closer to 80% of the human population procrastinate to some extent. So you're in good company. Anyhow, here's a couple of people that you probably weren't even familiar with that are procrastinators. Victor Hugo, the well-known French poet and author of such works as Les Miserables and The Hunchback of Notre Dame, he was a constant procrastinator. He knew he'd never get anything accomplished or ever hit his writing deadlines, so he had one of his servants do this. This is pretty extreme. His servant would take all of his clothes, leave him naked in his study, and he wouldn't be allowed to come back and return his clothes to him until an appointed hour after he'd finished his work. And that would keep him from going to the bars and carousing with friends. I love the idea. Don't know if it's totally practical, but in the summer it's probably comfortable. This is so much fun. Wait till I tell you the next part. You know what? I'm gonna go check to see if I've got that oven running. Maybe I'll go work on the lawn. Vincent van Gogh was another former procrastinator. He fixed his problem. Turns out he had 2,000 works over a decade of time. Now, this is even actually more impressive. In his last 2 months, he actually was finishing one painting a day. That's 60 paintings in the last 2 months of his life. That's enough to cut your ear off. Oh my gosh, this is so much fun. The fact of the matter is I want to get right into the next part, but right now I got to go check my Instagram because I'm blowing up. Another author that you've heard of, but you didn't realize was a really solid procrastinator in his life, Herman Melville, author of Moby Dick. He went to the extreme of having his wife shackle him to his desk so he could complete his first novel, Moby Dick. Don't get any ideas. That is a terrible idea. Who else is a fan of Mark Twain? He was known for some procrastination. In fact, he said, never put off to tomorrow what you could put off till the day after tomorrow, which would be my style. I really want to get into the next piece of it, but I feel like I gotta go like water these plants because they're looking like they're dying over here.
Wait, is that even real honey?
So what that it's silk? Don't worry about the details. I don't want to do this all the time. I bet you never heard of Hank Wilderschnorf. It's because he didn't exist. Actually, he's the kind of guy who just procrastinated and procrastinated and didn't do anything, didn't make anything of his life. There's always that kind of possibility, but we're not going to focus on that. We're going to talk about some techniques and strategies that can work and maybe get you to change your mind. There are lots of people out there that thrive on the excitement that exists when you have a deadline that's coming up and you haven't done anything about. There are people that actually really embrace the fact that they're procrastinators. They kind of live on that edge, that sharp line that exists where most people would feel very uncomfortable. So there is serious benefit to it as well, if that's what it takes for you to get moving. There is a notion that exists. It was a scholar that's much smarter than me that came up with a rule. His name is Parkinson. Now, Parkinson's theory is work will get done in the allotted time that you have. So hypothetically, if you've got 8 hours to finish something, you really don't finish it until 8 hours. If you got 47 minutes to finish something, you get really hyper focused and you get the job done in 47 minutes. So there is something really desirable about having a short window so that you're very productive in the time, so you don't take as many breaks and don't hang out at the water cooler and such. We all understand the risk of doing something too late, but there is also a risk of doing something too early. So sometimes just sitting back, relaxing, and pondering it a bit and letting it marinate is a good plan of action. No matter what your tendencies are, in business, you need to determine how to prioritize things and whether it's important and purposeful to procrastinate at all. Some examples of ways to do that include this, and I like this a lot. It's a funnel of sorts, a prioritizing funnel. What it's going to allow you to do is determine if you need to do it right now or if you don't need to do it at all. One such question you need to ask right away is, can I eliminate this task? Is it even necessary? Number two, you should think about is, can I automate the task? Is it something that I don't even have to be involved in myself? What about question number three? Can I delegate this task? Can somebody else besides me do this? And would it be more affordable to do it that way? And if all of those things are asked, then you could even ask this question just to make sure it's important. Can I put it off? Can it be put off even a month, a day, a week? If not, gotta get into it. I'm not a procrastinator. I'm just really efficient at spending all of my time on unimportant tasks. Oh my God, I really can't wait to get into this, but right now I gotta go pay some bills online. Here's a technique that's worked for at least 10 or 12 different people. It's called the Pomodoro technique. It's a great idea. My wife uses it also in schoolwork that she's planning with her kids. The idea is taking the laborious challenge that's in front of you and breaking it down into smaller chunks so you don't feel like it's so daunting. Give you an idea. Let's say something's going to take you 2 hours to complete. What you want to do is take 25 minutes of serious work where you're really working on that project and then a scheduled break. 5 minutes break would be great. If you got to go to 10 minutes, I understand that as well. And then get right back onto 25 minutes on, 5 to 10 minutes off. As you do this, you'll find that the 25 minutes, because of the break and the fact that you have a little bit more brain action happening, a little bit more neurons firing, you're going to find that that's going to be much more efficient use of your time and it won't feel nearly as laborious. Since you're obviously procrastinating watching this video right now, why don't you continue that? But don't procrastinate about this. If you're liking this information, like that button. I mean, push that like button. What would it hurt? In fact, it will show that you're overcoming your natural tendency to procrastinate by doing it now. And subscribe. Finally, in summation, what are we going with here? The fact is, you need to realize no matter what kind of person you are, no matter what type of procrastinator or inclination you have, sometimes it's okay. You don't have to have it all done early. You don't have to wait to the last minute. Maybe there's some gray area where you want to stay in between. You've learned that sometimes the best and brightest have been very successful in life despite their tendency to procrastinate. You've also learned that some people have gotten some of their most work done because they've overcome their natural tendency to procrastinate. No matter what it is, if you're a creative type like I am, having it, embracing it, realizing when you're doing it too much is all important. Keep it in the foreground and let's keep making it work every day. Thanks so much. This is a lot of fun.